Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Well, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the director of the All-domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, will be replaced by the end of the year. Yes, so for a lot of us out there, this is good news. It seems like he's been not truthful with the public on a lot of different issues, and a lot of people are going to be happy to see him gone. We were just talking the other day. I did a podcast talking about how he is apparently telling lies about whistleblower David Grush, and here we are. He's going to be replaced. He's going to be resigning by the end of this year, according to a report, which I'm going to get into in a second. But before I do get into that, I just want to point out something that in the previous podcast, there were a lot of different news sources that I was referring to, and talking about this new reporting tool that started this week, and I was based on some of the reporting. It was stating that this was going to be a place for people within the military and defense contractors to report UFO sightings, and I said that during the podcast. That's actually a mistake. As a couple of my followers have pointed out, and that was a mistake. I should have done a better job there myself. But it's not for that. It was a reporting mechanism for reverse engineering programs. That's what it really was. Here was a post from Joe Mergia on Twitter, the UFO Joe. He actually posted this yesterday. How do all four reporters get this wrong? The new phase of the AARO website reporting mechanism was not about UAP sightings, but about alleged UAP reverse engineering programs. That's a big detail to get wrong. Will they all publish a correction? Of course, nobody pays attention to corrections, so the damage has already been done. Has already been done. Yep. So yeah. So I just want to make that correction. It wasn't about UFO sightings. It was about reverse engineering programs. But that episode was mostly focused on Kirkpatrick, and this guy's been maligned since he's been there. There's been a lot of questions. But here's an article from the Daily Mail today, and it's an exclusive, and their headline says, Pentagon UFO Chief Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick will be replaced by end of the year as whistleblowers accuse him of lying to the public and ignoring witnesses. Yes. Yeah, I felt like, to me, this whole time, it seems like he's been gaslighting us. I mean, we just heard recently about that this secret group that was formed when AARO was formed, that was directing him what to do. I mean, a secret group, and some people who are apparently gatekeepers were on this group. We were hearing stories like that, and now we're hearing that by the end of this year he's going to be gone. So anyway, we're going to get into this article a little bit. Here's what it says. It says the Pentagon's UFO chief will resign by year's end amid a wave of complaints accusing him of making false statements about UFO whistleblowers and fostering an atmosphere of disinterest, the DailyMail.com understands. Yeah, an atmosphere of disinterest for sure. I mean, when you're just coming forward every time you have these press briefings and saying there's nothing to this, it's all balloons and nonsense and drones. He's trying to, basically what's been happening here, AARO seems like it's been trying to get people disinterested in it. I've been saying this for a while now. That's what it seems like. It seems like they're trying to put the genie back in the jug. Anyway, here's another comment here. It says here, this is from the article. It says 4 major candidates have been interviewed to replace the current director of the Pentagon UFO office, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, following months of heated public sparring between the former CIA physicist, UFO whistleblowers, and activists. The Pentagon appears to have already made the decision on Kirkpatrick's unnamed successor, according to one former Pentagon official with past involvement in related UFO investigation programs who spoke with DailyMail.com. And here was a direct quote. Given their public affairs track record, they may not put out anything to the press until well after the change, but who knows? They might surprise us. So this anonymous source is telling DailyMail.com that this change might happen, behind the scenes, and we won't even hear about it until after the fact. And then it says, continues here, it says, the personnel shift marks the culmination of months of accusations and counter-accusations traded between Kirkpatrick and former intel officer David Grush, who has alleged widespread illegalities stemming from a long secret UFO program. This week, Grush publicly accused Kirkpatrick of lying about his office's efforts to investigate these claims, which had been laid out by Grush last July under oath before Congress. Previously, Kirkpatrick had described Grush's same testimony made before the House Oversight Committee as insulting to the officers of the Department of Defense and intelligence community. But fellow UFO whistleblowers working with Grush, some past and present Department of Defense and intelligence community officers themselves, reportedly don't trust and never did trust Sean, according to an attorney aiding their efforts. It says here, while the precise reasons for his alleged departure remain murky, Dr. Kirkpatrick has faced vehement public criticism in recent weeks from UFO enthusiasts and so-called disclosure advocates seeking government transparency on UFOs and aliens. And there was a citizens petition that was put forward by hosted by Change.org, and it had so far at the time of since its posting in October, has 1,739 signatures. And the petition's author, Lisa Fine, she accused Kirkpatrick of operating a secret committee which directs the Department of Defense's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office's actions and public statements. And let me just stop there. I still find that unbelievable. I cannot believe that a secret group was put together to tell Kirkpatrick what to say to the public. That's unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. We're trying to get to the bottom of this. Congress is doing all it can here, passing this legislation, whistleblower language. There's new legislation that's going to be getting passed later on this year for next year. And here, there's a secret group telling Kirkpatrick what to say publicly. What totally absurd. I mean, we don't know a lot about this, but if it is true, and apparently it is, I mean, that should be illegal. I don't know why something like that would even. Why would you do something like that? Why would you put together a secret committee to direct you what to do? That doesn't make sense to me. There needs to be some kind of investigation into this to find out what was going on with that. Anyway, continuing here, it says, Dr. Kirkpatrick has repeatedly lied to the American people about a lack of evidence concerning UFOs, UAP, according to Fine, referencing the updated terminology of unidentified flying objects. In recent years, Pentagon brass, NASA experts, and others have taken to calling what were once known as flying saucers unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP. The petition's allegation that Dr. Kirkpatrick has assembled a secret advisory panel to run AARO, while still unproven, first emerged that same day via reporting by Matt Ford, host of the Good Trouble Show YouTube channel, who had cited an anonymous source. Yeah, that we're talking about. When I was talking about that too. Now, Matt Ford seemed pretty convinced, so somebody, I mean, whatever he was shown must have been pretty convincing, or he wouldn't have been talking the way he was. So that's why I think there's something to this. Anyway, continuing, it says, but the other recent accusations that Kirkpatrick has lied to the American people have come much more directly. This Halloween, AARO hosted a conference call question and answer session between reporters and Dr. Kirkpatrick, in which the physicist fielded multiple questions about David Grush and his allegations of a covert UFO crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. On the call, Kirkpatrick told assembled media that he had interviewed a whole range of people, over 30 people now, in relation to the allegedly secret and illegal activity. I think we've interviewed most of the people that Grush, may have talked to, Kirkpatrick added, in reference to investigative work that Grush reportedly performed while assisting AARO's predecessor, the Pentagon's UAP task force. We have extended an invitation at least 4 or 5 times now for him, Grush, to come in over the last 8 months or so. That's what Kirkpatrick said during that call with journalists. But he also said that Grush declined. But Grush quickly accused Kirkpatrick of inventing these outreach efforts by his AARO team in their entirety. I have 0 emails or calls from them, Grush told reporters for News Nation the following day. That is a lie. So he's been lying about David Grush. He's been telling lies and getting away with it, apparently. But maybe not now. Maybe what's going on here? I mean, now the Pentagon's going to fire him and they're going to choose somebody else to replace him. But it's still the Pentagon. I mean, somebody from the outside should be the Congress should be putting this person in here, not the Pentagon. The Pentagon's part of the cover-up. None of this makes sense to me. Anyway, continuing, it says, similarly, one retired U.S. Air Force Captain David Schindel, a former Minuteman ICBM launch control officer who reported his UFO encounter to AARO, said he felt that its personnel projected an atmosphere of disinterest. Schindel told viewers, well, actually, there's an atmosphere of disinterest within AARO. That's what he's saying. I was saying earlier, to me, the atmosphere of disinterest was also being created in the public because they're saying there's nothing to this. It's balloons, stuff like that. We didn't find anything. No, we have absolutely zero evidence of extraterrestrials, and so on and so forth. Anyway, continuing here, it says, Schindel told viewers of Matt Ford's Good Trouble show that Kirkpatrick and his AARO team were not people I want to talk to again. The Mail's former intelligence official, who has intimate knowledge of the military's ever-evolving UFO-UAP investigation portfolio, cautioned against drawing a direct line between those controversies and any plans for Kirkpatrick's departure, however. Sean has directly told folks he is leaving by the end of the year, this former intelligence official told the Daily Mail under condition of anonymity. I think it's completely a planned departure. He probably gave them a timeline when he took the job, according to the source, citing geographical stress on Dr. Kirkpatrick's family life. I am sure he's ready to go. I wouldn't read into it any more than that, honestly. So, for all we know, right, Kirkpatrick, maybe he doesn't like being the puppet. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's why he's leaving. Maybe he's had it up to here with this. I mean, we just don't know what's going on behind the scenes, folks. I mean, maybe Kirkpatrick had no choice but to be telling lies. We don't really know. Maybe that was his, when he got hired for the job. Maybe that's what he was being told by this secret group. You got to go tell them lies. You can't tell them the truth, all right? Don't talk about these reverse engineering programs. Say you found nothing. That's what you're going to tell them. Don't say anything different. For all we know, we have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. So that might explain that. Who knows? And then it continues here. It says, the source added that he has heard AARO's first and current director would be moving on to a position with Oak Ridge National Laboratory, which briefly hosted the kernel of an apparent staff bio for Kirkpatrick before it mysteriously disappeared. And this was something that Ross Coulthart brought up yesterday on Twitter. It says here, veteran Australian TV news broadcaster and investigative reporter Ross Coulthart, who conducted the first televised interview with Grush, said that this staff bio requires explanation in a series of posts to X, formerly Twitter. The AARO boss is presumably also investigating possible Batil links with crash retrieval / engineering programs, Coulthart said, referencing military contractor UT Battelle, which helps run the Oak Ridge lab on behalf of the Department of Energy. Recent reporting by Daily Mail contributor Christopher Sharp and others has alleged that Batil board member Stephanie O'Sullivan has knowledge of a UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, only to hide it from Senate investigators. During her past years of government service, O'Sullivan was an associate deputy director of the CIA, following successes managing parts of the U.S. spy agency's Directorate of Science and Technology. Nevertheless, when reached for comment, Pentagon spokesperson Susan Goh stated that whatever his future plans may be, Kirkpatrick is not currently moonlighting for Batil or ORNL in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I'm sure more of this is going to come out as time goes on. And then also Goh said that Kirkpatrick remains director of AARO. He is not currently employed by Oak Ridge National Laboratory. Well, I'm not going to read the rest of this. I'll leave the link so you can check it out for yourself. But I think this is great news. I think that, whatever the case, whatever Kirkpatrick's game was or is or he's going. I guess that's the good news. But who's going to be replacing him? That's going to be the next question. Apparently, they do have some people lined up, but we don't know which one they're going to choose yet. It doesn't state that in this article. But there's a lot more to this article, so I do recommend, if you're interested in this, to check it out. But I just want to get into some of the comments that were made from the last podcast that I did when I was talking about the podcast that asked the question, is AARO Sean Kirkpatrick telling lies about UFO whistleblower David Grush? There was a lot of comments I received on Spotify and on YouTube. Here's one. Here's one from Carrie Nichols. It says, yes, trash AARO and any other bullshit. organization set up as a fake front, pretending to be a UFO research and reporting group. For God's sakes, there have been so many of these fake organizations since Project Blue Book that the general public is now wise to these so-called authorities. Yes, AARO is trying to control the narrative like NASA, so why would any whistleblower go to either? Many astronauts have been trying to tell the public for years now about UAP, but CNN was part of the dog and pony show of the Department of Defense. Sean Kirkpatrick is definitely a puppet for the secret control group, whoever they are. Yeah, a lot of people feel this way. It's almost like we just know that we're being gaslighted after all this time. With all, we don't need to know. We just know that there's something going on, that there's a cover up, that there's an extraterrestrial presence here. It's like at the same time we feel like every time that someone from Washington opens their mouth, we know that they're lying to us at this point. They have to be, right? I mean, there's just absolutely no way that the greatest military in the world knows nothing about this extraterrestrial presence, right? There's just no, that's completely ridiculous to think that. And yet they won't share anything about this with us. They won't share the truth with us. It's always, oh yeah, the only thing we get is, yeah, we have 100 sightings, right? And we figured out 80% of them, and it's all nothing. It's all balloons or trash floating around. The other stuff, if we had more information, we'd be able to tell you. If we had more data about it, we'd have an answer. They have more data. There's crash retrievals. They have the technology hidden in hangars somewhere. They have their own scientists studying it. That's what's going on. Okay, let's go through some more comments here. This was from that same episode. Michael Park says, AARO, DOD, all of them are probably scared they will lose their job if the truth of the cover-up comes out. A human being will say and do whatever it takes to keep the dough rolling in. Follow the money to where they really live. Fear of job loss. Yes, I agree. I mean, there's most certainly there's probably many different elements to this cover-up, and money most certainly has to be one of them. I mean, it's the greed of the human race it staggers the imagination. Anyway, I'm going to go switch over here now. Look at some of the comments that I had received on Spotify for this. Here was one from Fred Bowen just earlier today. Kirkpatrick has lost all credibility and destroyed the credibility of AARO. He needs to be removed ASAP. Well, guess what, Fred? He's gone. He's going to be gone by the end of this year. He is part of the cover-up and simply towing the company line. Worthless and sad. And actually, I did receive a comment earlier, 12 hours ago, actually, from Oscar on Spotify. He says, just a few minutes ago, they've announced Kirkpatrick will resign by year's end. If you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. Lots of laughs. Let's see. And Sherry wanted to point out, I had a poll here that asked the same question, is Sean Kirkpatrick telling lies? And she said that she made an accident, she goofed, and she says here, I have to say I goofed while taking the poll and accidentally hit that I believed that Kirkpatrick is telling the truth when I don't believe him at all. So I'll go through the poll in a minute, and we'll see what the numbers are there. Okay, Rob Aldrich says, whistleblowers are going to deeply regret talking to Kirkpatrick and crew. The Department of Defense now has a complete list of all whistleblowers who can, along with their families, be threatened with death, obviously. Fred says, Kirkpatrick has to know he'll go down in history as a lying traitorous villain working against humanity. He has sold his soul to a corrupt set of criminals buried in the U.S. and other world governments. Like I was saying before, I don't know, why somebody like Kirkpatrick would lie like this. I don't understand. Maybe, like I said, maybe he's being forced to tell these lies. Maybe he has no choice. I mean, we just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We just don't know. Knorr 2023 says the Pentagon is still controlling the narrative like they did in the 40s and 50s, etc. They use doublespeak and do not answer Congress questions. Enough of this blankety blank. Seska says somebody wants Kirkpatrick heading AARO. Perhaps his obstruction is both intentional and the wish of the aliens. Grant Cameron said maybe we should be asking them for disclosure, not the government or the Pentagon. That is a great comment, I think. Yeah, I mean, it could, you have to wonder. I mean, the control these aliens seem to possess. It's amazing. Who knows? I mean, that could possibly be. Maybe the aliens are controlling the narrative behind the scenes. Maybe they're pulling the strings. I'm planning on doing an episode soon on lost time, people who experience missing time. I think that's an incredible power that these beings have, and it needs to be. We need to talk about that a little bit more. I'm going to do that in an upcoming episode. And then Kyle M says, the world's a stage, meaning a story is playing out in stages. This stage is just imprinting the public psyche, readying for the future event for the finale. Well, maybe. Okay, and then getting back to the poll that I did on this, I asked that question: is Sean Kirkpatrick telling the truth when he says whistleblower Grush has not reached out to AARO? 40 votes, 6 people or 15% say yes. Now, remember, one of those votes from Sherry, so it's really only 5 people, but 6 people or 15% say yes, while 34 people or 85% say no. Well, it doesn't matter anymore, I guess, because by the end of this year, he'll be gone. And I guess that's what we want, I guess. I was clamoring for that just in the previous podcast. I think Kirkpatrick needs to go. It's going to be interesting to see who they put in there, but again, the Pentagon's choosing the person to put in there. I mean, if there is this secret group that Kirkpatrick assembled to tell him what to do when he was named director of AARO, then won't that same group be telling the next director what to say or do? I mean, I don't know. Like the anonymous source tells the Daily Mail, like the reason he's leaving, maybe he only planned on doing this for a year, and then and then get out. And now they're just going to bring somebody else in who's just going to do the same old, do the same thing that Kirkpatrick was doing. Maybe they have no choice, which is why I was saying last time, I don't even know if AARO's going to work. There needs to be like a third party involved in this somehow. I mean, you have an office run by the Pentagon, which I believe is part of the cover-up. They're covering this up, so they have an office to investigate itself. I mean, that sounds like insanity to me. That's what it sounds like. And the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, chooses the successor to Kirkpatrick. None of it makes really any sense to me. But here's the other issue, though. How could you have some third-party independent group come in and investigate this? Because the Pentagon would shut all its doors and say, oh, this is top secret. Oh, this is top secret. We can't show you this. Oh, this is top secret. We can't show you that. That's what it would be. So it's a no-win situation, seemingly. That's how it looks like to me, anyhow. But anyway, Kirkpatrick is going. That's the news. He's resigning for whatever reason. Maybe he just doesn't. This was his plan all along. Maybe he's told he needs to resign. We don't know the details of this. But the thing is, he's going. Will it make a difference? I don't know. I guess time will tell. We'll see who the next guy is, the next person that gets put in there. That will be interesting. Well, I like to see the background. Is it somebody that's deeply rooted within the Pentagon? Well, then you might as well forget about it. We're going to get the same old. We're going to get the same old stuff if that's the case. But it's going to be interesting nonetheless. But I think this is good news, I think, for the UFO community. So... but then again, at the same time, I still feel like AARO's not really. I don't know. It doesn't feel like we're getting anywhere with this. I mean, even if you have people going to provide them information, they're not investigating this stuff. The whistleblowers have already contacted AARO. That's what we're being told by some of the whistleblowers themselves, and they tell AARO about secret locations. But then you have Kirkpatrick coming out and say there's absolutely no evidence of this. We have nothing. What's going on here? I don't know. It doesn't seem like we're getting anywhere with AARO. So it doesn't really matter who the director is. I guess time will tell. I'd like to get somebody in there who basically pro UFO community, somebody who studied this for decades, not somebody who didn't study this for a long time, not somebody that's been working for the Pentagon for 25 years. I'd like to see somebody put in that position, a citizen somebody who's studied UFOs for forever. I nominate Richard Dolan. Ask him. Somebody should call him up and have him go in there. That's what we should have. People who know that this has been covered up. People who have studied this. Put somebody like that in there. Somebody who knows what they're talking about. Somebody that knows what the truth is already. That's what we really need in there. Anyway, I want to say thank you all for joining me. Until next time.